Good morning, Hacksters. It is my favorite day of the week. It's Hackster Café, and today's guest is Kitty Yeung, a returning awesome person who is the creator of Art by Physicist, a fashion tech brand, and is now launching a Kickstarter. Good morning, Kitty. What's up?
Hey, Alex. Good to see you again. Really nice to be here with you.
You too, and you're nearly at your goal on the Kickstarter already. This is pretty incredible. You might hit it today, and you're especially looking to reach women in tech and hear from them about what they think about it. How's the process been so far?
Oh, it's a lot of work. I think for anyone who's done Kickstarter, it's really months beforehand. You have to prepare all the steps, not just the product. The product is developed much early on, and now you're ready to show it to the world. You have to prepare all of those materials, images, videos, and descriptions, and then building a community, sending it out to everyone that you know, and hopefully reach more people that haven't seen it before. So
Yeah.
it's definitely stressful, but a fun experience.
All right. One thing that I love about having you on the show repeatedly is that we get to sort of follow your journey through this whole process. And you've done, for example, direct marketing things with, for example, DF Robot. You've done a collaboration with them on these Bluetooth brooches that are gorgeous. And then you're also doing crowdfunding. It's an interesting like combination of approaches that you have. So how is doing a Kickstarter different from just manufacturing some stuff or working with a manufacturer to produce the product and market it?
Yeah, I think Kickstarter is also testing the market. You are making some really, really new stuff that you want to see how the world is receiving it. So you also have to kind of educate people that it is here, is not no longer the future. We've been talking about fashion tech forever, like the future, but it's really here. So we can start making more interesting things with technology in fashion, and hopefully Kickstarter gives you an idea of how people want to have it, and it shows you, it gives you a momentum. So if you set a certain period of time to drive this, I think it's more concentrated in a way.
And there's something here about how you chose these particular Lotus solar panels for some of your pieces. These are some solar-powered dresses that you can use to charge your phone. And did you collaborate with this brand? Did you collaborate with any other brands on this particular campaign? And what was that like?
Yeah, I can show you here.
Ooh.
This is our prototype.
Wow.
It's almost the final version as a product, where I collaborated with a German company called Armor, and this is their OPV solar panels that you can laminate onto fabrics, and they make really beautiful shapes. I met them at a conference, ID TechX, which is a electronics where it has a lot of wearables, IoT, and flexible electronics type of companies there. So we met there, and we were like, exactly, we want to demonstrate technology through artistic presentations and make something useful. So we immediately started collaborating. And because I had this design, which you might have seen before, that was on my fashion shop, which is a painting of the lotus pond that I made.
Yeah.
We just thought that let's make a pair of lotus solar panels. No one has done that before, and it's super cool. If you look at the details, you can even see traces of electronics at the back.
Oh, that's so cool.
And we have found a way to seamlessly embed it onto fabric with no trace of electronics whatsoever. So we hit all of the wires and everything. Is very lightweight. There's actually very little wiring inside. So it's all hidden and embedded. And then it comes out from the pocket. You can put a USB cable connected to the controller and then charge anything other than your phone. You can charge any electronics. So
that's so cool. I remember you talking before about a product, a technique that you developed where you could prevent conductive tracing is directly onto fabric, and they'd be kind of like integrated into the fabric. Are you using that same technology, or?
Oh, over here, not so much, because the most of the electronics is already on the solar panel.
Ah,
Yeah, this is another design. This is another painting that I did, which is a ink and brush styled painting of
it's
the
beautiful.
beautiful scenery Lee River, and it has also a very much matching scene with the lotus. So I also put two on this bow, and you can look at my website how it looks on the body. It's very elegant, and you can even remove the bow. Is detachable. So in terms of electronics, there's very little electronics that's needed, and most of that are traces on the panel. You just need some leads coming out and then connect it to a USB charging cable.
So this is that same one with the giant bows on it. That's so cool. And there's a version without the bows as well, right?
Yeah, is because it's removable. I like
Ah.
this. I like to design multi-ways. As a woman who really like fashion design, I'm a fashionista, and I always wanted to have designs that are changeable. So you can wear, you can put on the bow, you can remove it. It's got removable straps as well.
That's so cool. And I can totally see the convenience factor as someone who might go at a conference between like roaming around the conference halls, where it's kind of climate controlled, to like going out somewhere for the evening, and then like not having to fit the solar panel under my coat or whatever, but being able to like put it in my bag. That seems so helpful.
Yeah, and you were asking about the printed electronics. I am actually wearing it right now.
Oh,
It might not be very obvious under the light here, but it's got the LEDs showing constellation on my shirt.
yeah.
This I mentioned in our last interview before. This is using this printed electronics. This is another collaboration I did with a printed electronics company.
Wow.
So they were able to directly print the circuit onto fabrics. So this is a technique that we use for this particular design because I wanted to show the 12 constellations. I don't know which star sign you are. Are you
I'm Cancer.
Cancer? Okay, yeah, Cancer has
Coming into my season.
yeah, a few, not a lot of LEDs needed for Cancer, but
Just
yeah,
like 4, I think.
we can customize it. So we can make all different types of constellations because we have this very flexible grid, both in terms of the rigidity, flexibility, as well as how you want to arrange the LEDs.
That's amazing. We have a question from David Groom who says, "What is the process by which paintings become fabric?" And this is a thing that you've been doing for a number of years.
Yeah, that's right. So that's I've been using digital printing, which is an eco-friendly way of printing on fabric. It is direct printing pigment onto fabric using very little water. So I have been painting directly on the computer for, I don't know, more than a decade, since the electronic touch board became available, the very first Wacom tablet.
Wow.
I started painting on the computer. So all of my graphics are already digital. And that makes it very easy to scale into all kinds of sizes and print onto anything pretty much. So I found a company called Spoonflower. They are very good. So pretty much the first time I started using them, I already just wanted to stick with them because they printed my painting out exactly as I imagined. The size and the color, there's no saturation change, and you can choose all kinds of fabrics to print those on. So I've been able to do a lot of creations with this process. You can even make wallpapers with them.
Wow.
Yeah. So I make matching masks using leftover fabrics from these designs too.
Right, you have a notice on your website that says, "Buy an outfit, you can get a free mask cover."
Yeah.
but you can also get those on their own. Whoop. And also, if you go to shop.kittyyeung.com, as linked in the description, you'll also get this pop-up for the Kickstarter, obviously.
We're so close with the Kickstarter, so
You really are.
if
You could
people like,
easily take it today.
yeah, if people like the things here, just back us up, and we're getting there very quickly.
Yeah.
And if you have any feedback, if you're contemplating whether or not to back anything, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Ooh, yeah. So, speaking of, man, you've just done so many different things that are really innovative with fabric. For example, like we were talking about the printing on fabric that we just looked at, electronics, printing electronics on fabric, then also printing digital designs on fabric really early, integrating these solar panels, and then you've also got a new dress/coat that has heating elements in it. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, let me show you. This is a coat that I designed in the winter, where I painted the perennials flowers that's been in my garden that accompanied me during the pandemic, which I really love. I painted them on both sides. So I actually designed the pattern of the coats all digitally on Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, and painted the summer flowers and the winter plants, and then got these printed using the same way on denim. This is the same fabric you use for jeans, so very durable. And is reversible, so you can wear on both sides. And I, as someone who really hates cold and winter, I don't like to wear too many clothes. But in winter, I really hate to wear a lot of clothes. So then I used Lumia's flexible electronics, the heater, to prototype this, where inside, between the two layers, I actually embedded the printed, the flexible e-textile. So here it's exactly part of the fabric and is very flexible. It is not afraid of wrinkle or anything. And you just put on a USB charger, a battery, and it heats it up to keep you warm.
The nice thing about that is the battery probably heats up too.
Yeah, I guess. I did test it. Depending on the battery, it's not that bad. So you put the battery in the pocket, and then this is the heater is on the back. So very simple. And this is a stretch goal for the campaign, because this has a lot of complexity.
Yeah, I bet.
To manufacture it, you need to get a minimum order with the coat manufacturer. I also want to make them very dedicated. So there's a minimum of 50 units. So we have like stretch goal of 30K. But if we don't get that many orders, then we won't be making it. That's the whole point of Kickstarter, is to see how they receives. But if we exceed it, we would actually be able to make it even fancier by putting embroidery. I've already worked on this with the manufacturer, that my painting can also be turned into embroidery.
Oh,
that
wow.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. You've spoken before about, you're talking about how this serves women in technology. Is there some specific problems that you're solving for women in tech with these?
Yeah.
What is not already served by the market that you're adding in here?
So we don't see any. The reason I'm making a lot of my designs accessible by making them ready to wear is that there has been a lot of great ideas designed technology embedded for fashion, but there's a really big hurdle to convert a lot of our creative designers' ideas into products, into something that people can wear every day. Usually those things are very inspiring, but they stay at the demo stage. And that's been for decades. We've been makers, and a lot of my products at the beginning were open source projects, and it's all handmade. It's very tedious. It's fun to do, but it's always one piece at a time. And I just got very curious about the manufacturing process. Why haven't we made more interesting products for women? And there's not enough technology developed for women in the first place. If you look at electronics or technology in the market, that's not really female focused. It's mostly driven by male-centric aesthetics or sportswear or some medical devices that are wearable. So I want to show that we don't have to limit our imagination, and we should be able to push the boundaries between these two industries and provide more things that women may appeal to. Women should be driving the market and make the decision of what product should be made. And we're not getting enough of that yet.
Are there any that you have that are favorites that you've seen in the wild? Like tech fashion for women?
Well, there are so many of the say designs by Anouk Wimprecht.
Yeah.
And Chelsea Klukas, Lumen Couture, and Amt and Tellier, Sophie Wang, Helen Lei, so many of great designers, tech fashion designers out there. And we haven't seen enough consolidated, maybe a lot of the things are still, we have to make them by hand. So not enough support from the manufacturing and from the industry right now. So that's why I founded a brand specifically to scale them and discover the potential of turning those good technologies into actual things that more people can get their hands on.
Right. So these are largely one-offs. And what kind of support from manufacturing would you like to see? What kind of advances need to be made on the technology and manufacturing side to make this possible?
Yeah, so by collaborating with these partners for the Kickstarter collection, it really helped us bridge some of the challenges technically, like printed electronics. And we were able to solve a lot of technical issues, making them durable and washable and flexible electronics. If you can put LEDs onto fabrics, then you can put any electronics on it. So it's really a starting point for more interesting ideas. And this is also a great demonstration of making not just, it's funny that Armor is hosting a webinar on Thursday, and they're always saying, because the people that they talk to are all kind of engineers and technical people, and they were saying, oh, maybe this will be boring, but we won't be because we have art in it. So yeah, because oftentimes you see the technical products are not thinking about presentation and art, and then don't have appeal to consumer market. But that's not the whole point. The whole point is to really promote technology and science through artistic presentations. And when people like something visually, they have more interest to learn more, and they then start to discover, oh, it has all these technologies behind, and then they will get interested about the technologies and learn more technical side of things.
That's awesome. And what kinds of things could you see yourself working on in the future? Do you have any ideas without giving any spoilers away? But like,
Yeah, there's so many. I would say there are two major things. One is to work on the manufacturing processes for supporting independent designers to turn their ideas, great ideas, into rapid prototyping and manufacturing, so they can get their vision made much faster and get in front of the market, the people who can benefit from them much quickly. Right now, you know how long it takes to even make traditional clothing without electronics? It's like more than 9 months, or even
whoa.
to make this. This is a very traditional industry, and we have thousands of years of experience making clothing, and none of that knowledge seemed to be captured on some shared knowledge hub. And we should be able to manufacture them very quickly if a lot of our knowledge is captured digitally. And we can allow designers to do digital design and then upload onto a platform that can connect them to manufacturers around the world, closest to them and closest to the people who are making orders. And the eventual goal of that is we can then really achieve made to order. My brand started to do this, and Kickstarter is actually one of the reasons for one of the reasons for hosting this on Kickstarter is to get order before making things, because fashion industry is one of the biggest polluters in the world. So we shouldn't be generating more things that people don't want. And using a Kickstarter model is already applied to a lot of the new other types of products, but we should really do that for fashion as well. To use the same kind of methodology, made to order and open source in fashion, that can help people understand the processes, but also not to make something until someone already wants it. And then once someone wants it, make it really fast.
That's amazing. That's perfect. And you brought up two things that are really interesting to highlight here. First up, the fact of your commitment to sustainability. You're saying don't make things until someone actually wants it, preventing waste and pollution that's endemic in the fashion industry. And you have here you're donating proceeds to these causes for STEAM and environmental protection.
Yeah, and this is the mission why this brand was started in the first place. All of the designs, as you see, are inspired by nature and science. And that's my background as well. I'm a physicist, and I learned how the world works through physics. And I got so much inspiration from nature and physics, chemistry, all the scientific subjects. And those go into my work. And I want to encourage more girls to choose STEM. So eventually STEAM, I'm really putting the A into STEM, is to show girls that there are so many possibilities. You can apply art in maybe perceived as more hardcore or boring areas like STEM, but you can really make them beautiful and fun. But you can also apply those hardcore technology and scientific knowledge into making artistic efforts. So this is, I think, a perfect way for me to combine science and art through this brand. And because I got so much inspiration from STEAM and STEM, I want to contribute back and hopefully encourage more women and more girls to go into STEM and stay in STEM. And donating to environmental protection is also our mission, because fashion, we know the industry as a whole has been contributing negatively to the environment. And we shouldn't be making another brand that does that. And we want to make things that people love and also think about how we can positively make a contribution to the environment. So by reducing our own waste and pollution, by making prototyping processes and the digital manufacturing and prototyping open source, we can really reduce a lot of the waste and pollution that current mass production does. So as a small brand, that's I guess a little bit more control, but I think more as brands get bigger, we really need to think about how we not negatively impact our environment. So you can see a lot of my art and my design all merged together with STEM and nature. So I really want to contribute back to where I get help from and where I got my inspirations.
Amazing.
So, yeah, so you would if you back us, you would be putting your money in a good place. I would not disappoint you with that. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so I want to make it transparent to people how we are using the pledge.
So there's also another part of this that you said, which was building a community knowledge base, and that, of course, is absolutely our jam at Hackster, where we're sharing, a whole open source community for hardware developers. And you have actually published a ton of tutorials on here, complete with bill of materials and everything, and links to getting started materials for your flower BLE brooches, for example, and how to use these things and reprogram them, how you built the things that you made. And these collaborations, it's so amazing. Teaching people how to use the microbit to make a smart tea cozy or other cool fashion pieces, or like playing in the harp while you're doing EEG stuff. What's the deal with this?
Yeah, that one is detecting my brain activity while I was doing different things. I wanted to test is a double hack, is to hack my brain with the EEG sensor, but then also hack the EEG sensor with what I know what I'm doing. So I'm testing whether the EEG sensor was doing the right thing or just randomly giving me signal. And because I know what I was doing, and I had an idea of how my brain could function differently, I wanted to see from the data, and they actually show pretty matching expectation. So things like when I paint, I know that I concentrate really, really hard when I'm painting. I wouldn't think about anything else, and that's one thing in my life that I would do without eating or sleeping. So when I put on this EEG sensor, it's detecting the intensity of my thought when I was painting. And I also tested when I was playing the piano, different pieces, like faster pieces, Beethoven versus Chopin and versus Debussy. Based on the flow of the piece, it also showed different brain activities. So it was really interesting.
And I love how we can also see sort of the transformation of some of these projects from, for example, that printing on fabric thing that you did is kind of an update to this previous project where you were using maker tape, conductive tape on the fabric in order to create these lights, and also these little effulgent, tiny, tiny little lights as well.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a open source project that I was showing people. If you want to make a flexible circuit, how you would do it by hand, but it's not scalable. So we came a long way to make a scalable solution like this. So it really shows people how something was started from the very beginnings, from our pure intellect and hobby handmade projects, and how we gradually develop the technologies for it.
That's so cool.
And this one, yeah. So this one also had a version that I collaborated with Amy Double D on. So the Hackster, we collaborated on a project where she made a Lego wearable to go with this shirt. That was super fun.
That
And we
looks
were,
super fun.
and it's 3D printed. So she printed it very thin, so it's foldable.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and we had those crowns on our heads. It was really interesting collaboration because we separated between ours and on different parts of the world, but we were able to share our designs through the internet, and I was able to download her 3D printing file, and I printed on my robot's arm. So I would really love to see more of this happening, where we have ways to share our knowledge through the internet, and there's some hub that hosts that, and we can manufacture. I wouldn't maybe not manufacture, that's a bigger term, but have like micro manufacturing capabilities that we can all do on different parts of the world.
Even just sharing these things and the processes that you followed is amazing, so that, as you say, people can already create these on a small individual scale, like one at a time, but then also showing, for example, that you use spoon flour as a contract manufacturer to create your printed on fabric designs is so helpful for other people. Like, I keep meaning time and time again to check out spoon flour myself, but I never quite get around to it. But yeah, are there any other resources and tools that you've used to create these things or to collaborate that you want to shout out so that other people can sort of hit the ground running, as it were?
Well, number one, definitely Hackster.io.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many of my product now came from my prototypes on that I posted on Hackster. So you see that we came a really long way. The projects were open source, and they are still open source. So I post, beside the products, I always want to serve the maker community by providing them how things are made. So I link all of those products on my site to Hackster.io page, where people can learn how to make something similar.
That's so cool.
So yeah, but making product is one way of educating the market or educating the general consumers. I think we need more makers. We need more people who explore the cutting edge and sharing knowledge with each other. And we can't quite do that if we don't put a price point onto something. That's what I found a little bit frustrating when I was developing, was that you see this technology development cycle, and only 2% of the entire population are inventors and innovators. And then you have this early adopter, and then you have to be adopted by those early adopters, and then you will reach the majority, early majority, and then there's a huge amount of late majority, and then they call it laggards, who are people who would never take anything new until their current tools are out of the market. So it's a bell curve.
Oh, that's so funny.
So being the innovator, we always have a really hard time to persuade more people to adopt, and there's a chasm you have to cross.
That's a really interesting insight. I didn't realize they called them laggards, because that's such a negative term for someone who really is adopting sustainable practices by using their existing phone until it breaks before buying a new one. But
that's a really interesting thing to think about it. That's true. Yeah.
And at the same time, you are adopting these practices towards sustainability so that the new things that you buy can be more and more sustainable. And also, since you share how they're made, it's got more of a repairability aspect as well.
Yeah, and we're really treating fabrics and clothing as substrates too. We didn't have the electronics on it, but they were already clothing. But then you can now upgrade them. Constantly, you can add more and more customization. I can show you this other dress here.
Ooh, please. Everyone, we're talking about Kitty's Kickstarter, which you can find in the links below.
And this is the Earth dress. That is also one of the rewards on the Kickstarter. I need to put a battery in here.
This is the Wi-Fi programmable dress, right? I was just
This is I had this idea for years. The very first one was made using LED strips, and you can program it. You can change colors of the dress, but it's not really wearable. And I iterated and I collaborated with several different companies and their technologies. And this is version 5, which I work with Chelsea Clucas on. And this is using a matrix, LED matrix that's really big area where you can program it with your phone. I need to turn off the light, otherwise you can't see it clearly. So I decided to use this for the product version because it's truly integrated with the dress now and is lightweight and flexible, and it's not when you wear it you don't really feel it's there. And you can program it with any kind of images and GIFs and videos. So this is my painting of the Earth. Is the
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a space theme, and then I made a lot of hand painted GIFs. So
wow.
you see the sunrise and the moon going around the Earth. They're all my paintings.
Oh, no way.
And then it comes with an app where these are the program that from the apps. This is what I drew by hand. So you can use your phone and control the image on it anytime you want. So it's a super fun dress. And definitely you can stand out in the crowd.
Especially at night. Oh man, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And you can tailor it to different events and things, I imagine. So what have you learned about the construction of wearable tech here? Because often, you have to figure out where to put the battery, where to route the wires and stuff. And you've been doing this for ages. So what have you built into this dress that you've sort of learned through prototyping that over the years?
Yeah, so first of all, you want the thinnest and smallest electronics as possible. I always like tiny microcontrollers. And they can be very easily hidden. Unless you want to make a board like this, you can make it big. So like these flower board themselves are brooches you can wear directly on the clothes.
These guys.
Yay!
Isn't this some too?
I wonder, have you programmed them for your project yet?
I keep wanting to get around to it, but I know that there's a really great tutorial on DF Robot where you walk through exactly like what some good example programs are and how to get started with it. And it's so close to something that I have been wanting to use for like various sort of mental attunement programs. And it's just a matter of time management.
I can't wait to see what you.
Me neither. Now's the perfect time, honestly, because you have this on the Kickstarter as well.
Yeah. We almost sold out the very last couple. So
cool.
Yeah, be quick.
And those are on DF Robot as well. They have so many cool aspects in them. They got touch sensitivity, RGB LEDs, haptic vibration motor. They talk to each other via Bluetooth. They are programmed with USB-C. They have Wi-Fi as well, right?
They don't have Wi-Fi, just Bluetooth connected.
But they got Bluetooth.
Yep.
And a little LiPo rechargeable battery connector. So good.
Yeah, so I love hearing from fathers who bought these, that they bought these for their kids, for their girls. Or it was just Father's Day, so I was thinking, they were telling me that the girls get really excited when they see some beautiful technology and they want to dig into how to program this. So it's a great way for education as well.
So yeah, what kind of battery do you recommend, for example, for these wearable-tech projects?
Very good question. So for these ones, I use rechargeable LiPo battery. The flower themselves already have charging capability, so you don't have to get additional charger. You just plug it in.
I love that.
Yeah, so we purposely designed that. And that goes back to when I was mentioning the boards, microcontrollers. I think the best ones are small and they have charging embedded.
Yeah.
And they have big enough holes for you to do sewing if you want to make something by hand. And they have switches already on them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So those are always my top priorities. And for other
And that's
things,
on the microcontroller side, right?
yeah. So for other things like this, I think a lot of because phone chargers are so adopted now, is so widespread. Everyone has phone chargers. So a lot of these, you just need a USB cable, and you can plug the heater that I showed earlier. You can just use normal phone charger. And of course, you can get this that doesn't need charging. It's not based on charger.
Or you could, if you were wearing it around, you could also charge a USB phone battery off of it and then charge your phone later. You'd lose a bit of efficiency.
Yes.
But
Yeah, that's actually, I would recommend people to do that.
is there a particular phone battery that you recommend that, like, if you were buying a bunch of them for, selling with products or whatever, that you would go for?
So yeah, actually, I am using one from Lumia. I don't know if they carry batteries separately, but I did have some batteries from them that's very thin. That's a project that I did with them that's included batteries. So I like these form factor.
It's really
But
nice.
you bring up a good point, which is charging for wearables. We still don't have good enough flexible electronics. So I know there are a few companies that's making it now, and they're getting better and better. So I'm really hoping to see them getting on the shelf, so creative people can get their hands on those flexible batteries, and better that they can be conformable and directly put onto fabric and waterproof and washable. Of course, I've seen some demos. There are batteries that are durable, and you can even cut it and you can wash it.
Whoa.
So that's super cool, and I really hope that they will be made available soon. I think when I evaluated some batteries before, flexible batteries, there was also not enough charging voltage for a lot of wearables. For a lot of these circuits, we need either 3.7 from a coin cell battery, or a LiPo that's 3.7, or 5 volt from the USB charging. A lot of the flexible batteries that I have seen cannot reach those voltage yet.
That's good to know about.
Yeah, I would love to hear if there's further development in the battery world, if anyone has solutions for us creatives.
Yeah, that seems really important as Wearable-tech develops.
Yeah, so I would love to be the first people to use them.
Cool. Well, we're coming up on time here. Everyone, we're talking about Kitty's new Kickstarter for fashion tech, and there's an incredible variety of things on here. You've got solar panel wearables, embedded LEDs, self-heating jackets. You've got Bluetooth connected brooches, and more that I haven't even talked about. Everyone, check out the Kickstarter. Is there anything else that you'd like to throw in there before we wrap up?
Well, so if people resonate with the mission to support STEAM and environmental protection, I would love to see you being part of the community. And I think it's very important. It's not just a brand that makes product and wants to make money and sell it. It really is a mission that we're hoping and to really promote an intellectual representation for women. We've seen, so there are a lot of fashion products in the world for sure, but we haven't seen enough that is dedicated for women and intellectual women representation, and to do it sustainably and in a way that's good for the environment. So if you resonate with the message, I would love to hear from you.
Yeah. Finally, everyone, you can follow Kitty. Of course, support the Kickstarter. Find that link below. It's shop.kittyyeung.com. Art by Physicist and art by physicist Kitty Yeung on Instagram and on Twitter at Kitty Art Physics for all the updates. Best of luck with your Kickstarter. We're so close. I bet you're gonna make it to there today. Best of luck with it, and thanks again for coming on the show. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alex. Thanks everyone for watching.
Bye, Kitty.